Covaxin. Now, remember, we had two vaccine options in India. We had the AstraZeneca Serum Institute of India Covishield, and then we had Covaxin that was developed indigenously in India. Um, I remember as a journalist, those of us who asked a lot of questions about the testing process of this vaccine and the side effects of this vaccine when it was being released in the market, including myself, were trolled hopelessly for being anti-India and for not supporting the country the way that we should have supported the country when it was developing its vaccine. In fact, there's a film made about how ungrateful we all were at that time as journalists. And here we are. A couple of years later, there's been a study that has been done on the long-term effects. So a year after people took the vaccine, there were a bunch of about 900 participants in this study where people sort of took a look at it to see what sort of long-term effects. And this is what the study has thrown up. 1 in every 3, so 30% of the people, 1/3 of the people in this study who had taken Covaxin have reported adverse health effects. Now, what are these adverse health effects that happen? And it says adverse events of special interest, okay? AESI. It took me a while to sort of break this down. But basically, it means that they had a reaction of some sort. Now, what are these things? The most common one that has been reported, which in 1/3 of the people, is a viral upper respiratory tract infection. So basically, what the doctors call the viral, where you're coughing, you're cold. And there was a lot of this. I remember about a year ago, everybody was complaining about being sick. Everybody felt COVID-like symptoms. It was not getting any better. So this is one of those things. So they're now saying that for 1/3 of the people who took the Covaxin, they've reported viral upper respiratory tract infections. More serious, so about 1% of the individuals have reported serious as a stroke or the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which was reported in 1% of the individuals. Now, of those that they had spoken to, 600 were adolescents and 291 were adults. The adolescents have reported skin and subcutaneous disorders, so skin problems, general disorders, nervous system disorders. So this is a little vague in this report. Adults have reported general disorders and nervous system disorders also that are prevalent. Musculoskeletal disorders, so basically things that are causing pain. The study has found that in women, adolescents with pre-vaccination issues, those who developed typhoid after the vaccination had higher odds of showing these issues. So basically, I mean, 1 in every 3 is a very harsh number. I'm reading this out of the Times of India. This was an exclusive story carried in the Economic Times. It's a very harsh number. And I'm just shocked that this vaccine was given to people without clarifying, basically what these events were. Just reading through some of your comments right now. We have Tabish, who says, tuning in from New York. Hi, Tabish. Aman says, I found COVID vaccines a bit sus. Okay. Kumar, it seems like a business opportunity. I took Covaxin. I don't know if there's any connection, but I was down with pneumonia. Well, there you go. Amit Ganguly, T-Man's guarantee, upper respiratory tract infection or URI. I got Covishield. I had blood clotting and thrombosis. I'm still taking blood thinners. That's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. Ragsy boy. My late brother-in-law got the AstraZeneca in UK, Pfizer for his 3rd dose. A week later, he had a irregular heartbeat and needed a pacemaker. We lost him last year. I'm so sorry, Aman. So really, I mean, this is very telling that this sort of information is now coming to us after this much time. We should have had access to this information earlier. Those of us who were asking the questions during the lockdown should have been encouraged to ask questions. Instead, we were called anti-nationals for asking these questions. So here we are. Now we already know from the fact that AstraZeneca has accepted in court in the UK that there are side effects to the Covishield vaccine as well. But this number, 30%, that is a shocking number of the number of people experiencing side effects after taking Covaxin also. We'll of course do a deep dive, and give me a thumbs up if you think this will be useful. We will get a doctor to give us a clearer indication of what this means as well. Now, there's one more story that I want to bring to you, and sorry, this is a big one. This one, right? This is from Bloomberg, a Bloomberg story, and it basically says five under the radar billionaires making vast fortunes in Modi's India. Five under the radar billionaires making vast fortunes. So, what this means is basically that it is beyond the Ambanis and the Adanis. There are other people making a large amount of money who are doing it quietly under the radar, not in the glare of public eye. Now, who are these people? We do know, of course, and this is it starts off with this data. India's ultra rich, and you'll see that in China, there's China, of course, and the change over the period is 47%. But India has seen the largest increase in the pace of growth for the ultra rich. So, the guarantee of growth that we're seeing is actually for the super, 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 super rich and not for all of us. So in India, you'll see that, it's been we've had 50 billionaires grow out of this term in office. And of course, there is Mukesh Ambani and Gautam Adani, but there are others as well. So there's a list of these people. It's very interesting. P.V. Krishna Reddy, Managing Director of Mega Engineering and Infrastructures. You'll also remember when electoral bonds data came out, Mega Engineering was the biggest donor. This person's net worth is $8.3 billion. Now, he's a Hyderabad based pipe maker from the late 80s who has since then propelled estimated wealth from $2 billion to $8 billion in the term of the Modi government from 2015 to where we are today. Now, what are the businesses this person is involved in? Some of these stories just really surprise me. Now, it has an order book of apparently $24 billion at the end of September, according to CRISIL. Now, there's irrigation, which is largely what they're engaged in. There's also the bullet train for Mumbai, between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. There is a Jojila tunnel in the Himalayan region and a refinery construction project in Mongolia. So it's getting a lot of tenders from the government. That's P.V. Krishna Reddy. You can see that first photograph of a billionaire worth $8.3 billion and also the largest donor through electoral bonds over 5 years. Next one is Satyanarayan Nual, the chairman of Solar Industries, and the businesses that they're in are industrial explosives, defense equipment worth $6.9 billion. Now, this billionaire, who apparently slept at a railway station during his early days, has grown under the name Solar to India's largest maker and exporter of industrial explosives with a presence in 75 countries. He left school at the age of 18 and he's done really well since then. Then we have Mr. Patel of Nirma. You'll remember washing powder Nirma, right? So washing powder Nirma, a lot of us will remember from our youth. It has since then diversified business into consumer goods, chemicals, cement, and education. He's worth $6.6 billion. And apart from just starting off and selling soap, they have since then also bought up a lot of interesting companies. So they've acquired Imami Group's cement and grinding units. They have also acquired Glenmark Life Sciences at $680 million. So washing powder Nirma has now become a billionaire-owned business. Then, of course, there's Chandru Raheja of K. Raheja Corp, which is a real estate developer, commercial real estate developer worth $3.6 billion, real estate, hospitality, retail, and power utilities. So K. Raheja Corp has built, for example, shopper stops over the country, Crossword bookstores, In-Orbit Mall, Charlotte Hotels, business parks, Mindspace. You'll know Mindspace if you're in Mumbai. It's massive. And the company has declined to comment on the surging wealth of its founders. Then, of course, this I find very interesting. this individual, Acharya Balakrishna, is the managing director of Patanjali Ayurveda. He looks, this gentleman in the white outfit, who looks very unassuming and really simple and is always standing in the background next to Baba Ramdev, is worth $3.8 billion in and largely from the Patanjali Ayurveda business. Also, all of this money has been made during this period of this government. So, whose vikas really? Kiska vikas ho raha is the question to ask at this point. Because remember, this has been a government that has told us sabka saath, sabka vikas. And if you look at the numbers closely, you'll realize that the vikas, at least, which is the prosperity and the money making, is not happening for everybody. It's happening also for the very, very rich. So that's something that's come out. I'm reading it out of the Bloomberg article that's just come out. Let's take a look at some more of your comments. Two-wheeler sales have plummeted, whereas high-end ultra-rich vehicle sales are at its peak. Absolutely, Kumar. So if you see, apparently, I was reading this article about something called ghost malls. So what's happening is smaller malls with brands that are not luxury brands, that are not very high-end, apparently have collapsed in the thousands across the country. And only the really high-end luxury malls are doing really, really well. And this is happening across all categories. So if you look at housing as well, luxury housing is finding a lot of buyers, whereas middle-income housing, low-cost housing has no buyers at all. Vehicles, two-wheelers and entry-level cars have no buyers, whereas luxury SUVs have a lot of buyers in India right now. What does this mean? This basically means that the people at the top end of the pyramid who are already very rich are now very, very, very rich. And so what they're doing is they're going out and they're buying houses, they're buying cars, they're buying a lot of luxury goods. But the people at the bottom of the pyramid and the middle of the pyramid have actually not increased their wealth to a point where the segment of the market that caters to them, whether it's in vehicles or homes or just clothes and apparel and things like that, has collapsed. And brands are moving out of that segment and moving into the luxury segment because that is where the money is. And all we have to do is to just pay attention to it to realize that Kiska Vikas is not Sabka Vikas. That was the Bloomberg story I wanted to read for you. Let's take a look at some of the other stories. This one is Mr. Amit Shah, our Home Minister, making a big promise at Bihar's rally, which is that we will build a Sita temple after the Ram temple. It seems about apt. He said that he will construct a temple for goddess Sita in Bihar. PM Modi, he said, I'm quoting, built the temple of Ram Lalla in Ayodhya. Now let's build a big memorial temple at the birthplace of Ma Sita. The Mandir politics still quite active for the BJP as they continue to make those promises. This is another big story that we must pay attention to. Swati Malviya assault allegation. The NCW has now summoned Kejriwal's aide, Vibhav Kumar. So that's the individual. This man is the individual who has been accused of assaulting Swati Malviya. Now, Swati Malviya has apparently spoken to the police and given her statement, but she has not spoken to the press. So we've not heard from her in person. But we know that the National Commission for Women has gotten very involved. The BJP has gotten very involved. They apparently went to meet her, but they were not allowed to meet her today. The NCW has taken suo motu cognizance and asked the Delhi police to pay attention to what is going on. They've also summoned the accused in this particular case. The police had said Malviya called the police control room, alleging she had been assaulted by Arvind Kejriwal's aide. The police has said that she went to the Civil Lines police station, but she had not filed an official complaint. Police records show that 2 diary entries were made in that regard of the PCR call when she alleged that she had been assaulted on Kejriwal's instructions. Now, I want to point out that since then, Sanjay Singh addressed the media. He acknowledged that the assault had happened. He said it was a regrettable event, but he also said the Aam Aadmi Party would take action against this individual. He confirmed, or he basically said that it was not on Arvind Kejriwal's instruction. Arvind Kejriwal will take action. Having said that, though, my understanding is that Arvind Kejriwal was campaigning today in Lucknow and a couple of other places, and he was being he was being accompanied by this person. Kumar actually was with him. And then when he was asked, when Kejriwal was asked the question in Lucknow when he was addressing a joint press conference with with Akhilesh Yadav, there it is. He was asked a question and he just passed the mic away and he did not answer. So, so this is something that needs to be paid attention to. It's perhaps, whether or not it affects Arvind Kejriwal politically, the fact that someone like Swati Malviya, who's done so much for the rights of women in the city of Delhi, who has taken up every case and fought every case, I believe means that she should get justice. And if she, whatever support she needs, whether it's from the NCW, whether it is from the police, whether it is from her own party, needs to be given to her. And so Arvind Kejriwal must be held accountable in this case. Let me look at other news stories at this point. You know, of course, that Sham Rilas' nomination was rejected by the Election Commission. He went and he filed his nomination to contest against the Prime Minister in Varanasi, and then he was told that he has been rejected as per the website because apparently, according to the Election Commission, he did not take his oath, and so that was a deficiency. So this is an article in the Indian Express that says that under Article 84, a citizen who wishes to contest elections must take an oath in the presence of a person authorized by the Election Commission to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India. Now, usually either the RO or the assistant RO is authorized and the EC rules manage. Now, according to Rangila, he and other aspirants were not allowed to enter the magistrate's office when they tried to file their nominations. Then on Tuesday, the same day as Narendra Modi filing his nomination, again he was not allowed to enter. As per the rules, only one candidate can enter at a time. According to the EC rules, nominations are accepted between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. But Sham Rilas says his nomination was accepted at 2:58, 2 minutes within the deadline. And then the RO pointed it out to him that he required an affidavit that was missing. So he had that document made and submitted it a day later. He claimed the RO never told him the requirement of the oath, and now he said that because he's not done the oath, he cannot contest. So apparently the returning officer has to discharge the duty, and it's possible that he can file a petition with the Election Commission. Well, we all know how that might turn out. But Sham Rangila, who was making a point, see, he's also come out and put out a statement saying that I was never contesting to win. I didn't think I was winning. I wanted to make a point about democracy. I think it's safe to say that his point about democracy has been made because the EC colluded, the returning officer colluded to make sure he cannot contest. He's a comedian. I mean, let me give you a minute there to sort of make your own conclusions on that. This is another very big case. Now, I'll take a minute to look at your comments before I get into this case because it's a slightly complicated, more sort of important case. Okay, so the Supreme Court today has taken cognizance of the fact that the Prevention of Money Laundering Act has been used regularly by the Enforcement Directorate or the ED to just randomly arrest people. See, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act was always there. This government has given it special teeth. What it has done is it has allowed the ED to make arrests, and it has made the bail possibility under this law very difficult. Where basically you have to prove that you have done nothing wrong in order to secure bail, which is impossible to do. So as soon as the CBI or the police can accuse you of any crime, I can say that you basically have taken a bribe. The ED will immediately get involved saying that, okay, because you've taken a bribe, you now have cash that has come out of wrongdoing. And if you use that cash to buy something, that is money laundering. And so now you've come under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and I can basically I can arrest you. And so under those circumstances, the ED has regularly arrested people. The Supreme Court has now said that once the special court, and of course the PMLA has its own court, so once the special court takes cognizance of a complaint under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the enforcement directorate will have to approach that court for custody. So you can't just randomly go and keep arresting people. Once the matter is before the court, you will have to take the court's permission to arrest. And this is a big thing. Of course, the Supreme Court is going to continue to hear this case, and we expect more clarity on it, basically. But that's most of the news, really. Taking a look at the front page of the Indian Express with you guys for a second. She says outside support. So apparently this has just popped up. I'm clicking it right in front of you. So this is Mamata Banerjee apparently having rejected the India bloc before Lok Sabha polls, as well as any seat sharing agreement with the left front and the Congress. TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee said her party will provide outside support to the India alliance in case it manages to form a government in the centre. This is a moderation of the stance, coincides with the opposition's claims that the BJP will stop short of a majority. So basically, dude, things are changing on the ground. Mamata Banerjee, who had in the beginning, she'd gotten really upset with the India alliance because they were not getting their stuff together. And she then basically pulled away from that alliance completely and said, we're going to contest on our own. She's now made a statement saying, in case the India alliance is going to form a government, we will provide outside support, which means that there's some buzz about the fact that there might be an opening of some kind. Most of the rest of the stuff we have already read. In sports, Rahul Dravid is going to bow out as the coach of the Indian men's team, and that's going to be extremely sad if that happens. I will be sad. I'm very fond of Rahul Dravid. But here we are. That's the news, really, of the day that we're looking at. And remember, I'm here every day between 7:30 and 8 o'clock with the news for you. So do join us and do like, share, and subscribe to our page and sign up for our memberships as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure, as always, to hang out with you. Do share our videos with as many people as you can. Thank you for watching. Good night.